All of us harbour dark recesses of violence and horror. I'm just a man hiding in the corner with a camera, watching.
Hitchcock is an odd kind of hybrid. It's a love story, but it's a love story between maybe one of the greatest filmmakers who ever lived and his wife, who was his secret collaborator, his partner for life, and their relationship was one of great complexity, great support, and great humor.
It was the knife that, a moment later, cut off her scream and her head. Charming. Doris Day should do it as a musical.
I wanted to write about Hitchcock, and I wanted specifically to write about Psycho because I thought it was a very kind of one-off, time-limited kind of film. So there I am, interviewing Alfred Hitchcock. The interview gets published in a Boston underground newspaper. Mr. Hitchcock passes away. It is the last interview any journalist ever did with Alfred Hitchcock. It gets published around the world. Publishers start coming to me, what do you want to write? What I wanted to write was a book about the film that turns out to be a classic. And to me, the heart of it was a relationship between Alma and Alfred Hitchcock.
You are intrigued, aren't you? Killing off your leading lady halfway through the movie.
You shouldn't wait till halfway through. Kill her off after 30 minutes.
Wow.
What I wanted to do was look at what was the relationship between Alfred Hitchcock and his wife during the making of Psycho. What pressures were they under? What was the emotional temperature of the relationship? And how were those things impacting upon the creation of the film?
More anger! More!
I think it's really important to respect someone who lived and created incredible works of art, but it's also important to present them as human beings. And this is a film in which lots of people who made the film on both sides of the camera were at crisis points. In Hitchcock's case, everyone has pigeonholed me, and I'm getting older. That was very difficult for him. And so he wanted to, and I wanted to, show what it's like when you're up against the wall.
I'm under extraordinary pressures on this picture, and the least you could do is give me your full support.
We've mortgaged our house!
So at first I was hired as a consultant in translating my book to film. My duty and my talents were best brought to bear in terms of dramatizing the relationship between Hitchcock and his wife.
You may not be the easiest man to live with, but you do know how to cut a picture better than anyone else.
Except for you.
This will not be released in this country.
Show me some damn footage now!
I've always been interested in Hitchcock, and I was attracted to this story by the fact that Hitchcock was told no about this. Despite all he had done, he was told, no, you can't do Psycho.
This is Mr. Hitchcock's next film.
Fine, if you can get the money.
Who do I make it out to?
The first challenge you have in turning a nonfiction book into a screenplay is convincing the people who will pay you that this is the story that they want to tell. You have to decide what the themes are, who the characters are, and what angle you're going to tell the story from. Certain facts become more important to the story that you're trying to tell about creativity, about a relationship. It's such a twisted road that the project took in the very beginning. You want to see how that affects the artist who's representing it on the screen. In my case, I'm looking at Hitchcock. In Hitchcock's case, he's really looking at Ed Gein and trying to understand his psychology. Just as I, on the other end, am trying to understand Hitchcock's psychology.
When the Wisconsin Police Department raided Mr. Gein's farm, they discovered 10 female heads with the top sawn off.
One of the best things about writing about real people is people who will read your script have a sense of who those people are already. Everyone knows Alfred Hitchcock, but there always was a sense that you wanted to do things right. And in this case, we had Stephen Rebello, and he knew exactly how things were. You want to show a person as a person, because he's not just an icon. He was a human being, and he had a wife, and he had a life. And at this moment in his life that he's making Psycho, he's not getting the respect that he thinks he deserves. That whole journey as an artist that he had to take in order to get people to let him do what he wanted to do was very intriguing to me.
It'll be splendid.
Are you sure?
Of the movie? Not at all.
But of you?
Unquestionably.